May 10th, 1940, 4:30. Cold rain, low cloud. I felt anxious, determined, conflicted. The wind carried the taste of metal and mud, and the barracks smelled of wet canvas. We were called to the briefing. The air felt heavier than the rain. I buttoned my greatcoat and tried to steady my breath as the sergeant handed me the orders. They told us to advance into Belgium and France at first light. No hesitation in their words, only certainty. I folded the paper in my palm and felt the dilemma take shape. Obey the command, or listen to the voice that questioned the cost. They unrolled a map on the table. Thick charcoal lines, arrows, and shaded sectors meant movement and rupture. An adjutant pointed to the planned axis of advance. His tone was precise, void of doubt. I studied the inked lines and thought of towns, farms, and the faces that would be swept into motion. A captain said the timetable, dusk to dawn, a swift thrust to break their lines before they could organize. Every word sharpened my unease. I imagined the march, the thunder of boots, the faces of men I commanded. Later that night, I sat alone with the map, and the same question returned. What is my responsibility to the men under me? Before dawn, we fell in. The columns moved under low cloud. The rain turned uniforms into darker shapes. My platoon kept pace. They trusted my pace, my voice, my decisions. A private spat at his sleeve and cursed the cold. Small sounds amid a greater noise, but they kept me grounded. At a halt, we shared a crust of bread and a silent look. Their questions were unspoken, felt more than heard. I thought of the orders, break their lines quickly. I thought of the villages on the map and the people who lived there. Doubt is not a luxury in war. It is a weight you must carry in every choice. We reached a crossroads near a small farm. Machines were humming in the distance, but the rain masked most sound. A messenger arrived breathless. The timetable had tightened. We were to cross immediately and press on. I felt the platoon waiting on my face, on my shoulders. Their lives were tied to the speed of my answer. No counsel from command came. The choice rested with me for the moment. I weighed obedience against consequence. I thought of leading a reckless charge that could cost men, and of delaying long enough to scout a safer route. I decided to send 2 scouts ahead, not to defy orders, but to reduce uncertainty, an attempt to reconcile duty with care. The scouts returned with reports. A flooded meadow and a small bypass that would delay us only a few hours. Command accepted the adjusted route. We advanced later, slower, into the gray of mid-morning. I watched my men step forward. My decision had not spared them from risk, but it had brought a measure of clarity and time. Later, I wrote a terse report. Movements, times, justification. I did not romanticize what we were about to do. That evening, I stood at the farm and listened to the rain. The world seemed small and fragile under the clouds. I had chosen a course that balanced obedience with caution. I would lead my men forward and bear the consequences, alive to the weight of each decision.